Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to you live from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice and the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me. Oh my lord, it's been a long time since I heard that one. Wow.
Been a minute.
Bangers. Absolute bangers. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to preview round 25 of the National Rugby League. Luke, welcome, my bruh. We'll get to your Cowboys and missing the 8-bet in a moment. Quick recap on last week. If we're talking about handicapping, I did all right. I started off shocking. Penrith are fucking shit. Wankers. The refs helping them, and they still couldn't cover. Nailed the Sharks, Titans under. Brisbane to cover. Brisbane -20. Dragons to cover and Tigers to cover. I had a little play on Roosters and Melbourne 1-12, which did not come off, but profitable week for me. How'd you go?
2-2. The Dragons obviously sharded the bed. That's the first leg that I got, but they hung on. Titans plus 10.5 against Sharks. I thought they'd show up, and on the back of the two big boys getting big contracts, it's a shit house. And
no, they're paid now.
Yeah, they're cashed up. I had Raiders 10.5 against Melbourne. I thought good record in Melbourne, 10.5. Well, that was fucking gone very quickly. Yeah, and had the Knights covering 10.5 against the Dogs, so that was quite comfortable. So very all my legs were very either I won or lost early. I didn't have to sweat on them or anything. I was either done or comfortable.
Pretty clear, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good.
I think we're at that time of the year where a lot of games aren't going to be decided in the 79th minute. So
no,
you know well and early whether to keep watching or not. All right, let's talk about your Cowboys. So ballsy bet. You bet on the Cowboys to miss the 8. It was looking like a shoe-in. Suddenly there's been a little bit of form and redemption. What are your thoughts? Is there a cash-out offer? Would you take one? Where do you think they finish up?
There's no cash-out offer. Where it's honestly going to come down to is probably this week and next week. I think I almost concede the last week Penrith will rest basically the whole team. It honestly, I need basically the Sharks on Thursday or the Dolphins next week to beat them, which is possible because I'm still defensively they're fucking awful. So it actually plays into the Sharks a bit because I think the Sharks really struggle when they've got teams that can defend and hold their line, whereas they're very good at teams who just can't tackle, so they run rings around them. It is in North Queensland, though. That's the only worry. And then obviously next week against the Dolphins, I'm not.
That's a dub for sure.
Yeah, so it then could come down to I have them on 34 points. That's my worry, and I think based on results, it could be they miss out. Even if the Raiders do win this week, next week they've got the Broncos, which again I can't see them beating the Broncos, although they did earlier this year in Brisbane. And then last week they have the Sharks, who if they beat the Sharks in the last week, then there's a chance, but it's tough. I ideally would like to get to the game and basically get to Sunday night and look at it and then load up on them to beat Penrith, and then kind of that gives me 2 bites of the cherry because I think Penrith will rest players for sure.
It'll be interesting.
But I will say, nobody gave me if I had this position, them sitting 9th with 3 weeks to go, I'd be happy with it because everyone had them as their smokies and everything. And I was the one who had Broncos in and them out, and I nailed that prediction.
I did have Southside. If anyone picked the Roosters to miss the 8, that would have been fucking ballsy and a half.
They would have paid good money, like $350. I got the Cows for. I reckon you would have got 5s plus $6 maybe for them to miss the 8.
That's crazy. What else is crazy? 2 exciting news. Bits of news hot off the press today. Some current Bronco, former Bronco. Firstly, Tavita's hanging up the boots. He's going to take up a boxing career, mate. What are your thoughts on that? Bit of us.
He's very lazy on the field, so I can't imagine boxing being a sport a lazy man can get into. So I got a
He relies
feeling
on a bit of aggression. He's got that.
there's two angles to this. There is he's manager or someone. Apparently, he's been through 3 managers in 2 years.
Right.
So yeah, but apparently, I reckon it's either he's got fights lined up where he's making more money than the 750K he's walking away from, or it's his excuse to get into another club. He quits and then into the new year when after he's had one fight, he's re-signs for another club. That's the only way.
Look, I think he could have got out of his contract easy. If he would have told the Dogs I want to release, they wouldn't release him happily.
Yeah.
Because they're paying overs anyway. But, it's interesting. I'm actually not overly surprised when I watched him play on the weekend. His first 2 runs were fucking awesome. He was carrying blokes for 10 meters, didn't even think about an offload. I was like, oh, he's on here. Third run, got the offload out, turns the ball over, and he got hooked immediately, and then he come back to the 70th minute. He had this 1 hour spell. He came off fresh. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. But more in the positive side of things, Payne Haas re-signed to the Broncos, $3.6 million extension. Oof. I personally think that's unders.
Wow, you think it's unders?
I think it's unders. We're going to get a new cap. 1.2 is going to be nothing.
For a prop?
Yeah,
when Penrith,
best prop that ever lived.
When Penrith are paying like 800 and 600 for Moses Leota and Fisher Harris, basically combined, getting 2 of them.
They'll be due for an upgrade.
Man, that's huge. I don't know. Do you think
Moses Leota and James Fisher Harris are not going to get any better than they currently are?
But they're winning comps. They win. It's a
I'm not taking that away. I'm just saying they're not going to get better. Payne's adding something every single year. Every single year, and he's got a motor like we've never seen.
I'd argue 2 years ago, even a year ago, he was better. I think don't get me wrong, he's amazing, but mate, he was off the charts last year. Do you think, say Tom Malolo's 10 years, do you think that's worth it? That you've literally got $1 million forward coming off the bench now?
10-year deals, no, I don't think so, because the players aren't playing for nothing. I think the risk there is the back end of that, they could be unders because the cap moves. But the other risk is they get older and they lose their explosiveness and they're not as good anymore. So Tamalolo is still all right, but is he worth what he's getting paid this year? Probably not. And same thing, could happen with Tino. I don't know why the fuck they paid him. Gave him a 10-year deal.
Over the history of the game, highest paid players being forwards has never done success. You look at all the clubs, like Melbourne for that big period, literally just recycled forwards and made premiership winning teams. The Roosters even. The Cities, some of those players got too big for their shoes. They were gone. They brought in other ones. Yeah, that's Wayne Bennett's was philosophy back in the day when the Broncos were winning all those comps, was he wouldn't pay over $500,000 for a forward. It's a lot of money. And I'm like, Reece Walsh, what's he going to be asking for? Ezra Mann. Billy Walters, man.
Well, we know that Ezra and Reece will happily take unders. They're Broncos through and through. They'll take unders for sure. And I think if we lost Payne Haas, it'll set us back years and years. We won't recover from that because by the time we do, Reynolds won't be there anymore.
And what's Carrigan worth then?
Carrigan's like 700-800.
Really, I value him higher. I reckon he's literally once he went down, your season went down the drain.
We've got Carrigan and Haas till 28, I think. So their deals are linked. They're together. That's one thing you don't have to worry about for the next 4 years. So, and that shores us up in the middle. It's like we're guaranteed to win the middle in 90% of the games for the next 4 years. It's not I think it's pretty good. You got a lot of teams. If you stack your cap with your backs, like Manly, doesn't matter. Cherry Evans is playing off his head. He's playing so good against Penrith. I thought he was great, but their pack sucks. Doesn't matter how good your backs are.
I think it's because they're paying way overs. Even Cherry Evans is on they got Jake Trbojevic on 800, Schuster on 800. They've got just stupid money in forwards, and then again, has it been investing in forwards? I don't know. I think absolutely best forward in the game, but
it's not proven. That's for sure. But it'd be interesting to see who we lose and if we lose anyone, right? Because we lost Flegler and Herbie, but even if we had the money available, there's no one to get.
Yeah.
Right? So if you don't use your cap, you're wasting money. And we've got a plethora of young backs that are coming through. Plethora. Like if we lost Selwyn Cobbo in 2 years, it wouldn't bother me too much. You know, we've got someone else coming through. It's fine. But if you lose Payne Haas, there is no Payne Haas coming for the next 50 years.
Yeah. No, fair point.
We lost Flegler. We got nothing. Nothing coming. We got Fletcher Baker coming. You know, there's no props out there. It's a very slim market. There's not many of those boys roaming around. So if you can get someone, it might seem like overs now. But if you look at what's out there, good luck is what I say. But I'm glad that the timing of it is good. You know, he was copping a lot of shit media, even though he didn't say anything. He was just saying,
but he always talk with him in contracts. Like it's literally, I'm guaranteed in a year's time, he'll be talking about his next contract. He's 2 years left. Like,
it may come up, but it's only because of he's a high profile player. The same thing happened with Cam Munster last year.
Yeah, but Munster hadn't signed with anyone. He's still had a year left in his contract.
Yeah, and that's the thing. People were so desperate to get him. He wasn't looking for an out. They wanted to get in early. There was just rumor mill swirling, and he hadn't done anything this year to deserve that. Last year's manager fucked him over. There was some shit management last year, but I think it's good. If the timing of it's right, now there's no distraction. There's no excuses, so I'm happy. And 1.2, I'll take that. What were the Sydney clubs going to offer him? 1.3, 1.4?
Oh, the Tigers and the Dogs would have offered overs.
Yeah.
But yeah, for him to be on the same money as Cleary, that's crazy to me. Like, he's not going to win you games. Like, he'll set him up and get you in a position, but Reece Walsh, I would throw money like that at, but...
Yeah, it's true. If Reece Walsh cuts his errors out, fair enough. We can have that conversation.
We've got. Do you think about us every time he does those errors? You're like, "Yep, there's another one." Like,
yeah, he's a beast. Leave the comp in errors by far, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because we're winning. It's like Nico Hines, he fucking fucks up all the time, but then they're losing. They shit on him, but if they're winning,
last year he was the saint.
Yeah, didn't matter how many errors he made. So. We've got Walsh and unders for a couple of years anyway. So I think by then, Renault will be gone. He might get a 1 year deal. By the time we have to upgrade Walsh, we get, what's Renault on? 800K?
I think so, yeah.
So money frees up. I think we'll be fine. I think Flegler and Herbie's that's the big exodus we'll cop until we get to the promised land, and then some of your other players might command more cash. But I can't see who the fuck would. We've already signed Katoni for overs. You know,
Ezra
as a winger,
Selwyn,
unless fuck, Ezra Man's not even that good.
Ezra Man, but like if Ezra Man wins a comp, it's a premiership halfback, which is crying for this club's crying for that. It's like Luai. Luai's going to get offered huge money by these other clubs when he's not going to be $1 million player, but because he's won comps, they're going to go and plays international football.
Yeah. Look, he can command more, but I think we'd be fine if we didn't have Ezra. Like if they're smart, they won't pay Ezra the money he deserves. Give him unders.
Yeah.
But I think he'll take unders. Like he comes from a community where money's not the most important factor.
Cobbo?
Similar to Cobbo. Cobbo's not in it for the dollars. He's in it for the Bronx, baby. So if we can get the culture back to where people naturally take unders, we'll have a stack team for a long time. But again, when Renault goes, we're fucked. There's no halves coming up. They're nowhere to be seen. Unless we can snare someone away, get bloody DCE playing nearly 45. Like,
true.
There's who are the gun young halves? Who is it? Who's the best half you can think of under 23?
Sam Walker was the one they were hyping up. I still think Sam Walker would be your best.
Oh, I'd love to get Sam Walker for the future.
Yeah.
Like the Roosters.
They won't let him go, but they won't play him. It's weird. But for me,
I was hoping the relationship would be butchered then, so we could eventually get him.
Yeah.
But apparently we didn't handle our negotiations well with Sam Walker, so probably wouldn't want to come back to Brisbane anyway. But yeah, outside of that, who is there? Like Jaden Sullivan's going to get a bag, and he sucks.
It's true.
I can't think of anyone. So it's hard to find a good 7, and it's hard to find a good front rower. There's second rowers all over the place. There's wingers all over the place. There's even fullbacks all over the joint. Like, who's the young fullback for the Titans? He looks like a weapon. The young fullback from the Warriors, he looks like a beast.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many good young fullbacks coming through. I don't know. I don't think they're going to be. In terms of how important they are, I think they are extremely important to a team. But in terms of bang for buck, you can get some good fullbacks on the cheap. Especially if you like I said last week, if you take Reece Walsh out and chuck Jaden Campbell in there, he'll be a fucking machine. He'll be a monster. So whereas if we remove Payne and put anybody else there, I don't think we'd be even close to where we currently are. So just my 2 cents. Well, let's get into some rugby league tipping, shall we? First game's on Thursday, Cowboys v Sharks. I think this is going to be a finals type game. A lot of marbles on the line here. Is at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. The Sharks are outsiders in this one. Cowboys favourites at home. I was still missing Holmes. Sharks finding some form. Cowboys have lost their last 2. Do you have a bet on this game?
I don't.
Why are you choosing to fade?
Again, I don't know which.
Is it a matter of trust?
Yeah, they're both burnt me. I reckon if I do a review, those 2 teams have burnt me so many times this year. And every time it would be, I've expected them not to do well and they've done well, I feel like. So I'm just steering clear. Like, gut and head says Cowboys at home. But the Cowboys, they show up some weeks and everyone goes, oh, they're like Gus saying, 4 weeks ago, they make the 8, they can win the comp. Mate, I don't know if they can make the 8. Like, it's not set in stone. That's how unconvincing they've been. They were on fire and leading right up to that bye. Then I think, was it the Titans beat them?
Yep, Titans, Broncos.
Yeah, the Broncos was kind of expected, but the Titans, again, they dropped. So they dropped 2 on the bounce. So I'm staying away from it.
Okay. I'll take that. I'm taking Cronulla plus 5.5. So you can get 5.5 on Ladbrokes for $1.90. They got a great record against the Cows. I feel like their form's going in opposite directions. The Cronulla Sharks are the second best attacking team in the comp. The Cowboys aren't great defensively. I was looking at Sharks overs, but I'll take the plus money here. I think even if they lose, it'll be a tight one. Could be another Chad Townsend or Drinkwater field goal if the Cowboys can get it done. I just don't think they'll win the middle. I think the last 2 weeks, the Sharks middle is the biggest difference. Their backs are still doing the same bullshit they always do. But fucking Hamlin Ueli, for some reason, is unstoppable. Like, he's just pulling through tackles, fast play the balls. And defensively, the Sharks have improved. So where they fucking struggled the most was their left edge, where Talakai is. He was getting burnt by opposition centers. Teague Wilton was absolute trash. Mulatalo was racing off his wing. Believe it or not, since they put Wade Graham on that left edge, everything seems right.
He's retiring as well.
Yeah, so big games for Wade Graham. I honestly thought he'd struggle playing 80 minutes or close to, but I think he's doing a great job. And I just think that Cronulla's got more points in him. So we saw that game against Brisbane, against the Cows. Great game. A lot of attack happening, especially in that first half. But just when it came from going for point, the Cows just fell off. They couldn't hold them. And if the Sharks are less than half a point lower than the Broncos, averaging per game this season, I think the Sharks can pound them. I reckon they can put some points on and force some errors out of the Cows. The Cows only have one weapon, well, 2 weapons, really. They got Drinkwater and Nanai. Nanai's coming back from injury. Who knows how good he'll be? No Val Holmes. They got Tuolangi in the centers, who's okay, but he's not going to give him strike. I just don't think they have enough points. Dearden, I haven't even said Dearden's name in 3 months. He's had a pretty quiet season. He started off.
He's supporting well. That's a really
He's a supported guy, but he's someone that you want to, bring home and meet your parents. He's not fucking not going to throw money on the bloke.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm taking Cronulla plus 5.5. Best odds are on Ladbrokes. Get it now. Friday, first game at 6 p.m. Warriors versus Sea Eagles. Daniel Anderson Stadium in Auckland. That's a nice name. Warriors heavy favourites. The line's quite large here. I'm not touching the line. Have you got something on this game?
No, I don't. But go the Wars.
Go the Wars, mate. Are you even going to watch rugby league this week?
Yeah, I probably will. I'm planning a quiet weekend actually. So yes, I probably will.
What do you mean? You're coming with us to the cast on Saturday? Super Saturday, bruh.
Yeah. Quiet. That's
That's what you think. I'm going to consume my body weight in VB.
It's just another day, mate. But yeah, I'm not. I've got 4 bets, but yeah, this game, the Warriors, though they're winning the last couple of weeks, haven't been
What did I tell you
very,
last week, brother? What did I tell you?
very convincing.
I said they're getting tired. They're getting
They've
tired.
won by
And shit
10 and
teams
won
will
by
cover.
6 against the
Yeah.
Titans and Tigers, 2 teams who aren't going to play in finals. So
Yeah.
not convinced. Although Manly did some dumb shit last week, they actually played all right for the first 20 minutes, and then just some brain explosions.
Sebo walked in that dressing room and said, "Do whatever you want."
Yeah, that's the place. I think he's going to say it against the Wires as well, but I'm staying away from it.
Yeah. I've got one play on this one. We don't like try scorers, but for this week I do. So everyone's going to be backing Dallin, right? If you're backing Dallin, you're getting about $1.40, $1.45, $1.50 if you look at 365.
He's had a great season, by the way.
Absolutely. I think is he
Winner
the
of the
best? Is he the best finisher you've ever seen?
He does. Oh, mate, do you remember the game against you guys? He bombed 2.
I know he's a coward.
He's
Payne scared him.
I'd say he's up there, but
Who's a better winger finisher than Dallin?
Well, he doesn't.
It's not the volume of tries.
It's hard to say because he does score a lot, but he also gets himself in position to score them, whereas a lot of wingers wouldn't even get even close to that. So that's why he bombs some of them. Because I still stand by Johnston. Like he just made a career out of fucking finishing.
Yeah, I guess.
I think he scored a try. He scored a try earlier this year where he stepped inside and beat someone. I was like, "Fucking me dead." That's the most work he's ever had to do.
Yeah, I think Dallin's probably the most exciting finisher. Then he does some wild stuff.
I agree.
Like, I think if Xavier Coates did all the same things that he did, Xavier Coates would not be playing anymore. He'd be in a wheelchair. The amount of times that guy falls on his fucking head doing that stuff and gets injured, I reckon. If you looked at all the HIAs Coates has had, 75% of them are for doing shit like that in the corner.
Correct.
So, well, anyway, for my bet, I'm taking DWZ to score more tries than Jason Saab. It's $1.95 on tab, right? Not only is he a much better finisher than Saab, Saab only scores tries when Turbo's playing. Manly have your boy, Morgan Harper, playing inside of Baenga on that left edge.
Yeah, they're done.
Manly they've conceded 85 tries this season. 40 of them have come on that left edge. So DWZ, I think, is a lock to score. And if you can get him for an extra 45 cents to score more than Saab, who's most likely not going to score anyway, I think it's a good bet. So that's what I'm taking. You can get that on tab for $1.95. It's not available in Sportsbet yet. I think Lads have it, but that's only $1.80, I think. So $1.95 on tab, lads. DWZ to score more tries than Jason Saab. All he needs is one. So, Burn Job wasn't checking the chat, but you reckon Johnson will break the all-time try scoring record? How far is he away? I think he will. What's he, like 40 away?
I'll ring up now. He's not that far away, but he's also not as old as.
He's not that old.
No, I'm pretty sure he's like 30 now or something. Like I thought
he's not getting slower.
No, and again, his game is not built for like he's 187 minus 212. Yeah, so he's about 25 off.
Oh, 25 he could get that next year if South pick it up.
Yeah, and he's 28. So he's 28. Yeah, he'll fucking piss it in. He'll have it before he's 30. Yeah. That's what he's crazy. Like he was like only 17, 18 when they won the comp. Like he was so young. But yeah, he's 28.
Yeah, he will.
He's 25 try. He'll breeze past it, which will be good.
Absolutely. All right, we'll take that. Moving into your main event on Friday at 8 p.m. It's the Parramatta Eels versus the Sydney Roosters. The Eels, outsiders in this one, but the line's only 3.5. Sometimes it's 4.5, depending on where you look. Both teams trending in different directions at the moment. We've got a very similar bet, but I hand it over to you. What are we fucking thinking about for this one?
We're fucking hitting the Roosters 3.5.
We're absolutely pummeling the Roosters.
It's crazy. Moses gone. I can't see where in the hell Para are going to create. Like even old handsy Dylan Brown, he's been quiet since coming back. Yeah. They're just going to have no direction, no points. against the Roosters team who, yes, haven't set the world on fire, but they feel like they can make the 8. Para, I think, feel like they're done. They definitely crumbled last week. That was pitiful. So
It was a good 15 minutes from them, first 15 minutes.
I reckon 10, if that. It was just once you guys got one try, and you watch them, they'll fucking show up against Penrith next week.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
They'll play the game of the season.
Brisbane scored 9 tries in the last 60 minutes of that game.
Yeah, you watch next week, they'll play the game of the season against Penrith again. They're always shop against Penrith. Even especially if they lose this week, which basically will rule them out, they'll still show up. So I'm taking the 3.5.
Okay. I'm on the 3.5 as well. I feel like no Moses. They got RCG and Sivo back. But no Moses. I feel like they'll lose that field position battle all night. Moses' kicking game is so good. Like,
big.
He kicks them out of trouble so many times, and they're just going to have some basic up and unders. I think the effort will be there, but I think Junior as well. I think he's fucking tired. He played the most games out of any player last year. He went all the way up to the grand final, international games, got up to the final. So he played more games than anyone. And I think he's really starting to fatigue. Bloke's tired. Well. RCG is back, but I think if anything, the Roosters have consistently been putting effort in the middle of the field. Those fucking psychopaths are going at it. The problem is the backline's not clicking the way it should. Last week, we started to see some improvement. It was against the Dolphins, but the Dolphins managed to keep most games close. So they made light work of them. They know that they need to run a big scoreline up because their for and against is shocking.
Yeah.
So I think the motivation will be very high for this Roosters club. I don't think it matters that they're away. So, yeah, I think Roosters minus 3.5 is juicy. Could have a dabble at 13 plus. We'll see if I'm feeling horny or not. But, yeah, I've got them on 365. Who'd you end up taking them on?
Sportsbet.
Sportsbet?
Yeah.
Okay. I think very similar odds anyway. All right, cool. Next game. Into your slutty Saturday, we've got the West Tigers versus the Dolphins. So both teams truly out of contention at the moment. This is one of those ones you wish you bet on Monday. So the Tigers opened up as outsiders. The Dolphins have a lot of injuries and outs. So there's been a massive swing. I think the Tigers are 8.5 points favorites for this one. I think like $1.30 or something to win. So I don't know if the value's been sucked out of this game yet.
It's
but
crazy a Tigers team are $1.30 to win a football game. It's stupid.
I couldn't trust them against the New South Wales Cup side at those odds right now, to be honest. So personally, I have a lean on this game, but haven't completely bought in and put the bet on it yet. But I'm personally leaning over 46.5 points in this one. I know that the Dolphins are losing a bit of cattle. No hammer. You probably question how they're going to score. The Tigers haven't been able to score very well unless, if you exclude that one game against the Cowboys, they're pretty poor offensively. But I think it's just two teams that don't need to win this game. Like, it doesn't matter. Tigers are probably going to get the spoon and no one gives a shit. I said it last week. They're not getting any bad press because they're putting in effort. Because you've also got teams like South, who are shit, Para, who are crumbling, Canberra could be. All these teams that you expected more from are more disappointing than the Tigers. So I think there's going to be a carefree game. It should flow. Dolphins, love a high-scoring affair. I'm leaning the over, but what are your thoughts on this game?
I'm staying away from it because I'm worried that the overs looks too good to be true, and neither team can fucking string passes together. Dane Laurie's looked all right at 6, to be fair, as well.
He has. Brilliant last week.
But, again, I'm not convinced with either team. I think they're missing. They've actually got quite, you think that look at the Dolphins, you're like, oh, they look all right still. And when you're missing, Lemmy Lou, Hammer, Jerry Marshall King, Kenny Bromwich, Ray Stone, they're like their best players this year. So I can see why they're $1.30, but I think that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, because they're still the Tigers at the end of the day.
That's the end. It doesn't matter who you put. It's the Tigers.
Yeah.
They have not won since that 66-point game. So, I'm still not. They won 3 out of 4 in that little period, and they have just been dog shit on either side of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I agree. It's a tough one. But leading the overs, these teams shouldn't give a shit.
Isn't it funny that Appy, when he did that thing with the microphone, Penrith, and joked about going elsewhere in a comp. They're going to run last. Like he's going to go from like literally the most dominant couple of seasons to the most underwhelming,
The team that's
disappointing
been
season.
dominated the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Tigers will win, but it's the Tigers, so it might be scrappy.
Yeah.
So I'm not playing the overs, but that's what I'm leaning at the moment. We'll see what happens, but yeah, just a little bit of a lean at the moment. What else do we have? Second game on Saturday, Titans versus Penrith. The line is about 1,000 points once again. We've got a few players back for the Titans. AJ might play. Kieran Foran's out. Fuck, there's a lot of movements. Fodawaker's in, but Clark is out. And for the Panthers, Jerome, Mitch Kenny, and the Peach, they're all back. So Penrith looking strong as fuck in this one. Great conditions up at the Gold Coast. Are you man enough to take them at 20.5?
No, because again, when they're expected to flog teams, they don't do it as much as people think.
Yeah. Even looking at the past scores against the Titans, they fucking flogged them once and then they left it close.
Magic round was when they flogged them.
Yeah.
And then last year it was 18-4. And from memory, I think that was a near full strength Penrith team. Yeah, Tago scored. Yeah.
I remember that one. It's at Castle Hill. I think I was at Hillside when that game was on. I remember watching it. That first half, I think the Titans were up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Full strength. Yeah, it was 4-0 Titans. Full strength team. We just don't. Yeah, I'm just, again, I think they're now cruising. And I think, as I said, I think they're aiming for top 2. And they did this, I think, last year. They went through a little of a cruise period, and they want to hit that first week of the finals, and they played Parrot Penrith. They just went
Locked
bang,
in.
and they just
Hey,
went.
what's up with Dylan Edwards, by the way? Is he injured?
I think he's carrying something.
I think it's his ribs or something like that. I remember that a couple
Yeah.
of weeks ago.
Yeah, I think
He's just not running.
No, he's not. And I think, again, they're just going to nurse these players through. And because they're so experienced, they know finals is a different game, and that's when it starts again. So I'm not convinced they're gonna go full. Even last week against Manly, they honestly treated the game like even when they were down, they didn't seem to care. Like they were just like, "We'll win." They knew they're that confident.
Yeah.
And then they had a penalty. I think they're up by 6, and they took the
penalty.
tap. And and then they were trying to do like crossfield kicks, and they were trying to trick plays, and they're up by 12 with like 30 seconds to go or something, or a minute to go, and they got a penalty in front. Instead of just taking
take
the
kick. I needed them 13 plus.
13 plus. They fucked so many people over that, and I was like, they really just are coasting at the moment. So yeah, I think this could be a game where I just wouldn't they should cover it, and they probably will, but I'm not confident enough to put my money on it.
Wouldn't be surprised either way, right? So
no, Penrith could win by 13, and it looks like they won by 40. That's the way they play at the moment. So
yeah, I was looking at the unders. Maybe they just lock in defensively, but but then I'm backing them to play the same game they played last week.
They are, but to be fair now, with the defense, they only did concede 12. But the first try there was that debut. They played. This is how lightly took. They debuted a hooker who was just called into New South Wales Cup last year, and threw him on ahead of Sonny Luke.
I know.
And that first try, and now he's out of the squad. He's back in New South Wales Cup, but they literally just used him as like a opportunity to give him minutes and debut him. And Olakau'atu,
he led in the first try, the toss up.
Yeah, like literally just rolled off him and goes, "Thanks for coming." If you take that out, they defend and they scramble well. So
they locked him up. So yeah, I'm not going to touch it either. I don't like it. Don't like it. I encourage you guys to avoid it. I was leaning the unders because of their defense, but if they don't give it, I don't like betting on the unders. It's bloody painful to watch. It just takes the fun out of the game. But
yeah, because you just wait, at least the overs, you're cheering on something to happen.
Yeah, but I will be watching this at the cast with you, so I'll have something on it for sure. But for now, being wise, being smart, I'm saying nothing. All right, and then the last game at 7:30 is the Dragons versus Storm. Storm heavy favourites in this one. Fresh up a massive win over the Raiders, the Dragons. I think like a lot of shit clubs, they're just getting bad calls, eh? Manly was getting robbed. Dragons getting robbed. I think the Dragons are getting robbed every week, to be honest, with some rubbish calls. I don't personally have a bet on this one either because I want the Dragons to cover, but 15.5 is not big enough. And Melbourne have been quite dominant as of late. So I've got nothing I'm real confident on at the moment. But what about you? You got anything in this game?
I've got the Storm covering.
You got the Storm. Tell me why. Why are they going to cover these 15.5 points?
They're still not locked in for the top 4, so they've got that to play for. And I think because the Sharks are still, breathing down their neck, and the differential is only 17 points. So if they slip up here and lose or something, and Sharks win, then they can jump into the 4. And I think they're starting to warm up the Storm. I think the last round against you guys will be very interesting to see where you are at, because again, it could be Bronx playing for a top 4 spot. So you probably will get Melbourne playing for a top 4 spot, but
so they'll want it.
They're starting again.
Playing for a minor premiership, so we'll want it too.
Correct. So you might see, but again, it could be just a fizzler where they both realize, well, Bronx could already have the minor premiership wrapped up if Penrith name a team list Tuesday full of New South Wales Cup players again. And
I think we'll want to break the hoodoo, to be honest. We'd have to break that. We'd want to break that hoodoo because there's a strong chance we verse Melbourne at some point. So
that's the one. Like it could fall like you guys play them back-to-back weeks. So I think Melbourne, outside of Broncos, probably are the team who could, and maybe South could, if string it together in their day, could give Penrith a run. And they've got that Pappenhausen bloke playing Queensland Cup again at some point.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to make a difference this year, to be honest.
I reckon they'll throw him on the bench, and that'll be.
I reckon the teams will murder him when they see him come on. He'll be dead.
But I'm taking Storm. I think Dragons are off to the off-season trip. Melbourne playing for top 4.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if I see him run up a score. But that's like on the day, I'll probably be betting it. I'll be leaning an absolute thrashing. I might even have a play at the Storm like minus 30 or something, just to juice it up a little bit. But
I think people forget for Melbourne as well. Melbourne of the last 9 have won 6. They lost 3. The 2 of those losses were against Penrith. Again, you take them out, so they've literally won 6 of the last 7. That other loss was against Newcastle, who were flying still. Like they're still winning games they should, and when they win comfortably. Like they beat the Tigers by 22, Manly by 18. They put 48 on Canberra on the weekend. So I think you get a good read on Melbourne. I think if you look at all their losses this year, they still even beat you guys. Like they lose to South when South were
controversial. Carrigan Sinbin in that game ruined the whole thing. But
see, I'm telling you, he's worth more money, mate. He gets a little what happens.
Yeah, he gets fucking Sinbin too much. That guy. That's what's wrong with him. Loves a hip drop, old Carrigan.
He does.
Okay, you're on the Storm. I reckon they'll run and train through them too. Just not adding it to mine for now because I'm putting mine in a multi. All right, into your slutty Sunday. What do we have at 2:00? The Knights versus the Rabbitohs. Great fucking game in this one. South somehow still favourites in this one, despite not giving a shit every single week. They haven't got their front rowers back yet. And as you just said, the Knights are absolutely flying. Jackson Hastings named to play despite fucking crying on the weekend after copying a juicy little hip drop of his own. I think we're both taking Newcastle here. Do you want to explain why?
First time they've had a sellout since 2012 in Newcastle. So that place will be rocking.
Wow.
And combined, they're 4 wins and they've won 6 in a row. Only the Dolphins gave them a bit of a scare, but outside of that at home, they flogged the Tigers. They beat Melbourne convincingly. That could have been easily 60 odd again. If Hastings didn't get injured, they were 30 up at halftime. Still won the second half, and then they flogged Canberra in Canberra as well. Again, their last loss was against Penrith. Like, if you look at these teams, you look at the games they're dropping. And literally they lost against Penrith. They did lose against the Roosters, which was pretty bad, and they lost against you guys in Brisbane. If you remember, though, they were leading that game for about an hour. So yeah, I think their form's pretty good.
Yeah, I'd take that. Their points line is only 22.5.
That's very juicy considering they've covered
20
that.
and a half on
They've
365.
they've covered that in their last 6 games.
Yeah. So in South, not fucking great defensively at the moment.
No, they conceded 14 against the Dragons was shit. They conceded 26 against the Sharks,
18 to
18
the
against
Tigers.
36 against you boys, 32 against Dogs. You have to go back to the Wars. And that was an upset on the Friday. I was pissing down rain sideways when they won 28-6.
Yeah.
I
So
think
yeah, I'm liking Knights over as well.
it's a great
365
bet.
are only at 20 and a half. So 22 and a half. Not too different really, but yeah, I'm liking the Knights to score some points here. I don't think Souths get better until Sele and Totola come back, but I think that's the very last round against the Chooks.
Yeah.
That's going to be a great fucking game. That
could be one of them getting the 8.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited by that. Bradman Best is back. So that's some good signs for Newcastle. What's been interesting is just their forward pack. Like I was talking shit about their forward pack a couple months ago. Adam Elliott's a freak. Leo Thompson's good. One of these Saifidi boys is playing good. I don't know which one it is, but one of them is playing pretty
They're
good.
always one. Yeah, one's play good, one play good. Sometimes they swap. I don't know.
Yeah.
Twins,
Ben
man.
Crossland's surprisingly been pretty good at 9. Hetherington hasn't been sent off for a long time. Like it's pretty fucking good. Pretty impressive team at the moment, the Knights. I think defensively they're going well. And they're winning that middle. A lot of confidence. Dane Gagai, he's been fucking awesome. But he's been awesome all year. Just can't get a look into that Origin team. But yeah. Really liking the Knights this week. So I've got their overs. I've also got them to cover $200 on that game. So hopefully the troll doesn't wake up. All right, into your last game of the round. This one should be at 6 o'clock on a Sunday because I don't think anyone's going to watch it. That's the Raiders versus Dogs. Raiders got decimated last week. Short favourites. Bulldogs decimated every week despite whoever they name. You see on 360 this week, they were comparing the Dogs this year to last year.
They're
last
identical.
year, defensive. No, they're worse. The Dogs last year in most areas in defence, they were like 11th out of 16 teams. This year, they're dead last in almost every area in defense.
I'm talking about wins. Sorry. They're on the same amount of wins.
Their wins are shit, but defensively, they've gotten so much worse wasn't he the defensive coach for Penrith?
Yeah. But hang on, remember their previous coach was the attacking mastermind at Penrith, and
that's right.
And Barrett couldn't fucking put an attack together. They were awful in
Penrith off cuts. I reckon if they got the water boy from Penrith, these Bulldogs players will break down with dehydration.
Yeah, it does make you wonder. Like they are the title as defensive coach, but how much work do they actually put in compared? Like they obviously do a bit, but like everyone else must help defensively. It's not like this guy.
I think strategically, he probably has the strategy there.
I was going to say, I reckon he's very good at reviewing teams and putting it togetger, going, "This is what they're going to do in attack."
But the execution from the players.
But if you haven't got the cattle, they're not going to stop it.
But I don't think they have the cattle. I don't think they have the buy-in. I think a lot of the players they're not working with the team.
Do you get the vibe that they're not a harmonious team? That there's not.
No, they're fucking not at all. For some reason, I feel like everyone hates Reed Marnie. Just because I feel like I wouldn't like him.
Ninjas, man. Yeah. Fuck me. I deal with whingers sometimes, like every day, and I'm telling you what, this guy's whinging is on another level. Like fucking hell. But if you remember the start of the year, they did that YouTube series 10 in the kennel, or Dogs in the Kennel or something, and they went out to St. Greg's College at Campbelltown and did like a 3-day camp there, and they filmed it, and it was like this big coming together, kumbaya. And it actually looked pretty cool. Like it was like, man, these guys are binding together. That's when they named Faye Mariner as club captain, Josh Reynolds. And they were like, but now you look at them, they just, I reckon half of them don't even talk to each other. Like, you got Pangai going, I'm out. Like, you've got Reed Marnie complaining like every fucking
like, I'd rather get punched in the head for a living than play with you blokes.
Yeah, like Avarillo's gone. But then remember last year, whilst they made sign, they let their best, Nick Meaney was their best player last year. Like, he was their best player.
And that was purely based on effort, him and JMK.
Yeah, and look at him at Melbourne. Like, he's holding his starting spot at fullback. I know Pappenhausen's out, but when he comes back in, Meaney will play 14 or something. Like,
And the start of the year, Jeremy Marshall King was the form hooker in the comp.
Oh, until he got injured, he was killing it. So
Yeah. I'll tell you what they're missing, the Dogs. They're missing genuine leadership. There's no one in there that I would follow into battle.
well, Kickout is not exactly a leader.
No.
Like I know he's
No.
experienced. But
He's the
I
guy
don't-
you want behind you, right behind you. That's who I want following me.
Yeah,
But I'm not following Reed Marnie. Matt Burton doesn't seem like he's got a voice.
nah.
The Fox has a voice, but it's not the type of voice that they need right now.
It's a chirpy voice. It's an energy.
You see the Fox bloody arcing up? Does he hate Kalen Ponga? Did you see that last week? For some reason, standing over him, like putting shots on.
Nah, I think he was just trying to make a statement. I feel like, but again, the old argument, Melbourne let go of players at the right time. Like he's not been the same player this year that he was. Even last year was good, but he was better the year before at Melbourne. You can see he's on the decline, and he's on good money.
Yeah, I'll tell you who the Dogs need. They need Action Jackson. Even though he was getting old, he represented the Bulldogs' identity, and he was a great leader. Like he did all those things. He didn't have to do anything but fucking go out there and hustle.
Bulldogs, like that thing, that statement of this is the Bulldogs. We want to be.
It's been a long time.
At what point do you go, okay, that was the 80s. We need to start thinking about our brand moving forward.
Dogs of War.
The Dogs of War. Let's become the Dogs of War. I don't know if the Dogs of War would cope in the new game. Like, well, you can't be. You get fucking sin bin for touching a guy around the head. Those Dogs of War were fucking head highing every tackle. Like,
well, they need some sort of identity. They've got nothing. They don't know.
I'm surprised though. Field Goal hasn't done what he's done at Penrith and just started feeding juniors through and stuff, because they seem to be
all smoke and mirrors. Field Goal.
All they're doing is signing. Even like they signed you like Oluwapu, they're stealing juniors from other clubs. Like,
and they're not playing him.
No.
So, yeah, I think they're in a bit of strife. But at the same time, what are your thoughts on the Raiders? So the Raiders will win. You just don't know how much by.
I've just got them over 26.5 because I'm more the Raiders for me. They're apart from the weekend, even when they win, it's always close. Yeah, like they scrape it. So I think this could be easy, like a 30-22 game. Like that, like they could concede a heap and then put a heap on. So I'm not super convinced in either team defensively. But also for the Raiders, the way they attack, it suits up against the Dogs because the Dogs are awful through the middle. And whereas the Raiders do go through the middle a lot. So those edge back rows are going to have a field day. Yeah,
it's true. They should, but fuck, sometimes the Raiders, they just drop the ball all the time.
Yeah.
I feel like they don't know how to play the ball. I feel like they fuck up the ruck all the time. They got all these blokes that can't play the ball. But yeah, I'm not touching this game. I don't want to watch it, but I will. But yeah, a bit unpredictable this one. The Raiders will win. They love a 1-12, but the Dogs are absolutely awful. So I think taking the Raiders to over on their point sign is probably the best bet here. Or I think even the total overs. I reckon that could be a good shot. But thinking about my mental health here and not touching it. All right, sweet. I haven't watched 360 tonight. Is there any other headlines I may have missed?
Paul Crawley talked about, Turbo should retire from rep football. Look what Ponga's done. But again, fucking a month ago, they were slamming them. They get just the 1 year. They talked about obviously the Payne Haas deal, and then Tavita going away, but no Tigers bashing, which was different. No, but they kept saying they're like, the cost of living in Brisbane's so much cheaper than Sydney. Housing, yes, but I'm like, trust me, I've been up there. A schooner of beer is still fucking a schooner of beer in Sydney price. Like, you can't get away from that, mate. Let me tell you that much.
Mate, we've explored the possibilities of moving into state, remember?
We have, actually. We did look realestate.com. That was only a month ago now.
Yeah.
I actually do have a link to a house as an auction for a place someone sent me the other day, which was a very, very nice house. 14 mil, but it's got everything.
Only 14?
It's up in Queensland. Looks amazing.
Jesus. We dream. All right, Luke, let's wrap this thing up. It's getting late. Thank you all for watching. Bernie, thanks for getting that chat on fire. Hope to see you on Saturday. For those Sydney-siders, all the lads from Dark Previews will be at Star City Casino for Super Saturday. Free beers. Come find us. Luke's paying. We'll see you next week.